What happens when power becomes transactional? In 193 AD, the Roman Empire answers that question in the most humiliating way imaginable. An emperor is murdered, the throne is auctioned, and the man who buys it rules for just 9 weeks. This is the story of Didius Julianus, and the day Rome sold itself. To understand this moment, we begin with instability. By the late 2nd century, Rome appears powerful. Its borders stretch across 3 continents. Its armies dominate the known world. But beneath that strength lies fragility. Emperors are no longer chosen by republican institutions, nor consistently by hereditary succession. They are increasingly made, and unmade, by the military. In January of 193 AD, Emperor Pertinax attempts reform. He inherits a treasury strained by extravagance under his predecessor Commodus. He attempts to restore discipline within the Praetorian Guard, the elite soldiers tasked with protecting the emperor. That decision costs him his life. After only 87 days in power, Pertinax is assassinated by the very men assigned to defend him. Rome wakes to chaos. But instead of installing a successor through senatorial debate or military consensus, the Praetorian Guard does something unprecedented. They lock themselves inside their fortified camp, and they announce an auction. The empire will go to the highest bidder. 2 wealthy men respond. One is Titus Flavius Sulpicianus, the city prefect. The other is Marcus Didius Severus Julianus. Didius Julianus is no obscure opportunist. He is a senator of high rank, a former consul, a governor, a man with a long political resume. But on this day, pedigree matters less than price. The guard begins the bidding. Sulpicianus offers a donative to each soldier. Julianus raises it. Back and forth the offers climb. Finally, Julianus promises each guardsman 25,000 sesterces, an enormous sum. The soldiers accept. From atop their walls, they proclaim Didius Julianus emperor. It is perhaps the most explicit moment in Roman history when sovereignty becomes commodified. The Senate is summoned. What choice does it have? Armed soldiers stand behind the decision. Julianus is confirmed as emperor. But confirmation is not legitimacy. The Roman people are outraged. Crowds gather in protest. They shout curses. They call him a thief. The provinces react even more decisively. In Pannonia, the governor Septimius Severus commands powerful legions. In Syria, Pescennius Niger is proclaimed emperor. In Britain, Clodius Albinus prepares his own claim. The empire fractures within days. Severus moves first. He marches his legions toward Rome. Julianus attempts to stabilize his rule. He promises reforms. He negotiates. He attempts to raise defensive forces. But loyalty purchased in crisis does not endure under pressure. The Praetorian Guard, who sold him the throne, show little appetite for defending him against hardened frontier legions. As Severus advances, the Senate reconsiders its position. Political survival replaces earlier fear. After only 9 weeks in power, Didius Julianus is condemned. An executioner arrives. According to the historian Cassius Dio, Julianus asks a final question. But what evil have I done? He is executed on June 2nd, 193 AD. Severus enters Rome shortly after. His first act is decisive. He disbands the Praetorian Guard. He strips them of power. He replaces them with loyal soldiers from his own legions. The auction of the empire has consequences, but the damage is deeper than one execution. The year 193 becomes known as the Year of the 5 Emperors. Civil war follows. Political authority no longer rests even superficially on constitutional tradition. It rests openly on military force. The transaction that elevated Julianus reveals something fundamental. When power is treated as property, legitimacy evaporates. The Roman Empire does not collapse in 193, but the event marks a turning point. It accelerates the militarization of imperial politics. It demonstrates that the throne can be purchased. And once that precedent exists, the idea of sacred authority weakens. Didius Julianus is often remembered as a symbol of greed, but the deeper story is institutional failure. The Praetorian Guard had become kingmakers. The Senate had become reactive. The military had become decisive. Julianus did not invent corruption. He operated within a system that allowed power to be priced. The auction of 193 AD forces a hard question. If sovereignty can be bought, who truly governs? The man with the title or the men with the swords? Rome survives this crisis, but its political culture changes. Emperors increasingly rise from military ranks. Succession becomes contested through force. The illusion of stability fades. Julianus rules for 9 weeks. Yet his reign exposes a vulnerability that shapes the next century of Roman history. Power is never merely possession. It requires recognition. It demands consent, whether from soldiers, senators, or citizens. When recognition is reduced to payment, authority becomes unstable. And when authority becomes unstable, empires tremble. The story of Didius Julianus is not merely about a man who bought the throne. It is about the cost of transactional power, and about what happens when legitimacy is replaced with price.